Yeah. So welcome, friends. Welcome to the next live session of our most popular academic writing online course. And I would like to let you know two things. First of all, that in this particular cycle, we have crossed 8,600 plus enrollments, and we have been graded as best of all time course in the Class Central MOOC aggregating agency it is, and best of all time in across the world in the online courses. So first of all, I like to welcome the our manager, marketing manager, Mr. Taimur Khan, with us from Bentham Science, who is our guest of honor for this particular live session. And as you know, the Bentham Science is one of the most reputed and trusted name in the publication domain, and it's always a pleasure to be the part of the Bentham and Bentham Science. In my career, I have, got the opportunity to be on the various Bentham Science journal as an author, and also associated with one of the most prestigious journals, Current Drug Discovery Technologies, as a regional editor, regional section editor. So, Mr. Taimur, you are most welcome. And dear learner, on our request, the representatives from Bentham Science is with us. So please do welcome Mr. Khan from Bentham Science.
So hello, everyone.
Dear learner, before we start, Mr. Khan, excuse me, before we start, because the student and keep on joining the meeting, we have not enabled entering and restricting any access, so anyone can enter at any moment. First of all, and secondly, my friends, Mr. Khan is with us to answer your queries. But before that, he will make a brief presentation about the initiatives and the author support and his expertise with respect to the academic publications. He will be giving a brief presentation, and he will be with us for the Q&A session also. So most welcome, Mr. Khan. Over to you.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, and I hope you have had a good day. So I'm Taimur A, and I'm a senior manager at Bentham Science Publishers, and I've been working with them since 2010. So it's been almost 15 years, and so I've been working with the marketing team, and what we do is we work with different stakeholders in the publishing industry, with researchers, with research organizations, societies, and even content distributors uh, to promote our products, which are basically journals and books. And some of you may be familiar with it. Some of the senior researchers here, like Dr. Semalty, they're familiar with it. But for those who aren't, we are a science, technical, and medical publisher. We are in the same business as, say, Elsevier and Wiley and Taylor and Francis, to name a few. And what we do is we publish peer-reviewed journals and books. And Dr. Semalty had basically invited me to give some advice on academic writing. And specifically in this presentation, one of the themes was how to get your article published more easily, or how to avoid rejections in academic publishing. So, as you know, academic publishing is a very specialized domain, and of course, it's not very difficult. But obviously, if you are new to this area, there are things that you need to know, right? That things that help you basically publish a paper more easily. And the more experience that you have in this domain, it becomes a lot more intuitive, a lot more easier to deal with the requirements of different journals or different publishers even. So, without further ado, I will just start my presentation in a bit. So, yeah, hang on. Right. So, here's let's go. So, academic writing tips. I'm Taimur A, Senior Manager at Bentham Science Publishers. Um, a quick overview about our publishing about Bentham Science for those who aren't familiar. We are a scientific, technical, and medical research publisher. We have more than 150 online and print journals. Um, some of them are hybrid journals, which are essentially operating on a subscription model and an open access model. And then there are other journals that are truly open access. We have robust peer review systems in place. So that means that when your paper comes to Bentham Science, it is reviewed in the best possible way, and we make sure that the science that is published is correct. And this is a cornerstone of scientific publishing. Um, we also have a large catalog of books, more than 1,600 books, which is growing. And we basically provide information for researchers and other organizations that need data or publications for furthering their research goals. We are indexed in many organizations, for example, Clarivate, which gives impact factors, PubMed, EMBase, Cabels, many organizations that store information about journals where you can find the right articles for your research needs. So we are going to get straight to the topic here. All right. So how to avoid rejections in academic writing, right? So here are the key strategies to avoid rejection. There are basically seven major strategies that you need to be aware of. The first thing is to target the right journal. Right. So what happens is that when you search for a journal, when you write an article, it has a very particular scope. For example, if you are targeting writing in the pharmaceutical industry or pharmaceutical article, chemistry article, so you need to be aware of the domain of it. Some journals are very general, like for example, if you have a journal of pharmaceutical science, no problem. It will be it will be easier to submit an article in that journal. But let's suppose you are dealing with a journal that deals specifically with drug delivery. So then you need to make sure that your article falls within that line. It addresses the drug delivery technology or a drug delivery mechanism. If you are just talking about a clinical aspect, then you're likely to see a rejection. And second reason why its articles are rejected is basically about novelty and impact. So you must be able to highlight the key points of your article that make your article new, or the make your research novel or useful to it. Most of the time, researchers or young, inexperienced researchers, they come to a journal and they submit an article, and they are not able to articulate why their publication is new or novel, and they don't communicate the finer points of the research. And the editors or the reviewers, they are not sure whether if this article is going to be of any benefit or any use to anyone. Now, one of the key things to as an editor is that they want the content or articles that are coming in that other researchers can quote or cite in their work. So when something is novel, when something is new, then your article is most likely to be accepted. Now, it could be a very small thing, like you have just tried a new variable in a research. Right? You may have tested a drug in a mouse model, and now you are testing it in a different model, maybe in a rabbit model, maybe in a human model, and then you can make that connection that, all right, we have tried this new change, then we have made a new direction in this research in a particular drug's effect. So then you can point that out in your research, in your summary, and in your methods. Right. So the third one is structure for clarity. So this is very important. And many of our journals, including Bentham Science journals, we have outlined a very specific structure for research articles, or review articles. When you submit to a journal, you are expected to submit your article in a very specific structure. And the most common one I've listed in here is IMRAD. But there are many other structures like cars or past and so on and so forth. And let's go for IMRAD because this is the gold standard. IMRAD means IMRAD, Introduction, Methodology, Results and Discussion. For many journals, especially in the research field, this is very important, where you have your introduction, you explain the method, and you compare the results with previous studies, and then you have a discussion or a concluded one. I mentioned, for example, cars. That is something that is in humanities, um, that is creating a research space. And then there is also in social sciences or humanities, for example, there is a three-step body problem as well, where you have the subject, then the discussion, and then the conclusion, right? And these frameworks are very field specific. In mathematics, you have a different framework. Each journal will define that framework. And if you just submit your article without looking at the framework, then it will automatically be rejected at the front desk. It will not go ahead. Some journals won't even tell you about it. Other journals may be more transparent about it. At Bentham Science, we try to be very transparent about it to the researchers to give you feedback about it. And methodological rigor, right? So methodology is also important here. This is the crux of most articles. This is very important for research articles where the methodology is needs to be clearly defined. Some journals, they are very clear that they just want the protocols to be identified. There are many journals like Springer protocols, right? Those are journals that require uh, these protocols to be listed. Other journals have case studies and they have a very particular style of case studies. So you need to be very aware of those and you need to be sure that the rigor in your method is clearly defined. Things that are missing, like materials or the tools used, uh, these are going to cause problems. These days, it is very important that AI is very common and it's now being increasingly used in research. So sometimes you need to declare the use of AI in your methodology. At Bentham Science, we have actually started to implement this very often, and AI declaration is now a must in many journals, and even in the cases of book submissions. Um, a very common one for case for rejection is basically your language. If your language is not clear, then you are going to get rejected. Clear, plain, and simple. So you need to be very clear in your language, and the language should be professional. Using standardized terms will get your paper accepted more commonly instead of using local jargon or non-standard terms. Finally, or penultimately, rather, ethical compliance is important. I mentioned the declarations. for AI use, but there are many others. Like, for example, the conflict of interest is important. If you are doing a research on animals, uh, for example, you need to make sure that this is complied with, or if you are not even, you need to declare that in your forms. Many journals, they provide documentation for this. Sometimes it's on the publisher level, and so you need to declare this at the time of submission. Otherwise, it it will basically the editor will be forced to reject your article. And finally, many articles they get rejected because you have checked all of these boxes, but editors require you to make changes, or they give specific feedback, and usually this feedback comes after peer review. Uh, and this is huge. So sometimes be there might be a reluctance of the person who is submitting an article to do this. Or sometimes there's a deadline, or sometimes you're unable to do that or unable to answer questions, and then that causes problems. And you'll get rejected. So if you incorporate feedback, you're good to go. To recap some common points or common reasons that result in rejection. One is a lack of significance, or why the research is not novel. We covered that. Weak methodology, ensure that your method is fine, there are no flaws there. Poor fit, basically, whether it is out of scope or not. And most to avoid poor fit, you must read the aims and scope of the journal carefully. If you are still not sure, then you contact the editor of the journal. Right? You contact them and you ask them that, okay, I'm submitting on this topic. Is this a good fit? And the editor will tell you beforehand, and yes, okay. Or someone in these editorial staff will communicate with the editor, and they will tell you beforehand that yes, this seems to be a good fit. And this is one way for it. For junior researchers, I believe this is a very good way to do it. If once you're experienced, scope will not be a problem most of the time, unless the journal is a very niche. Uh, the journal is of a very niche nature, uh, right? And of course, bad structure, writing, poor grammar, uh, poor structure, or articles that is not following the framework, that is going to be a reason for rejection. So, right. So, in academic writing, right, when you are a junior researcher, one of the reasons why editors they want good quality research rather, is to improve the citations of the journal. And as an academic writer, there are some points that you can consider when submitting an article that help you improve not only your citations, but citations of the journal. After all, rejecting an article is basically done because it may hurt a journal's credibility if it is published in that form. Uh, Article may be of low quality. So citations are important for the journal, and how can you improve them? These are some of the points that I'll cover for early career researchers. So first point is that citations most of the time are driven by two key factors. And these key factors are tied to how your article is discoverable or useful. So the first one is visibility, and basically how visible your article is, how much it's showing up in search engines or in the right places where researchers are frequenting, right? And the other one is utility, how useful your research is to researchers. And visibility is basically tied to how you basically structured your article or your content to the right search engine. Mostly this is covered by publishers. You can make this very easy for yourself by incorporating the right things at the start so that the publisher doesn't reject your article, it accepts it. But when your article goes through, it will usually be covered over here. Utility, this is a novel thing, and this is usually field specific, but this is directly tied to the quality of your research. Some of the things that are important here are if you have a data set, make it usable, make it accessible. If there's a finding or if there is an image that needs to be clear, that needs to be citable, and of course, access to the actual article. Is it accessible? Um, so for search engines, we will to cover the visibility part here. A good title is usually something that is impactful. If your title is using the right keywords, it's not using odd language, it will help in making article discoverable. For example, if you are using, take the case of drug delivery technologies. If you want to make your article very clear, then use the very specific drug delivery mechanism that you are talking about within your title. If you are using a very specific protein assisted carrier, you mention that in your title. If you are using a very specific liposome technology, mention that in your title, right? Um, Saying that this is a novel technology to treat a specific disease, that may attract a very specific audience. But if you want to talk about the novel technology, add it to your title, article title. Structure your abstract in a certain way where specific keywords are added or repeated. That helps with SEO. This is not a hard and fast rule, but at least it should be included once uh, in your research article or in your abstract. Uh, then we have the standardized terminology. This is very helpful if people are using very specific language. It is showing up in search engines. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and use a very novel way. That only helps if you are writing a very new framework and it has come up in certain discussion forums. But otherwise, for newer researchers, it's not a useful idea. Right? Strategic writing choices. Right? Here, so certain certain articles like review articles, they usually get more citations than research articles. Research articles can be very niche, but if you are reviewing articles, especially in disciplines like medicine, social sciences, in pharmaceutical industries, publishing review articles on average, they will get more citations. This does not mean bad news for researchers. No, and in fact, you should have a balance of articles in your portfolio. After all, many journals are based on research, and it does not mean that you should stop research articles. But said that, publishing reviews or articles that take a bird's eye view of a particular field, that will in general benefit you for citations. And generally, when editors are looking at such articles in their portfolio and the journals, when such articles are coming, they are more likely to say, okay, there is something very novel here that I want my journal to publish. Um, Leveraging open access, which is very important, and this ties into the other aspect, utility, right? So many or new authors, they may say, okay, we want to publish in a journal for free, but the thing is that the articles are usually paywalled. That's fine if the journal has a good reputation. It's okay, well and good. But if you want to make your article open access, then everybody can quickly benefit from the research. They will be able to read the article, and more importantly, they will be able to cite it. Citations are very easy to come by for open access research. So it's a choice that you make. And if you make it early on, you may need some funding and some support. But if it is done early on, then it helps with your direction and with your citations. Uh, Citing yourself ethically. Self-citation, ethical citation is important. Sometimes you try to cite colleagues' work and or you try to cite your previous work. This will generally be discouraged, and basically, uh, what happens is that it will be caught on. So some in the old days, people used to do that. They used to cite their own work and then they used to gain citations. This is not encouraged. Uh, do not cite irrelevant work just for the sake of getting more cites. Even if you've done a previous work in the field, make sure that it is relevant to something at hand. If you've done some cited some research in a different domain, or you've done an article, written an article, in different domain, don't cite that. Make sure that the citations are relevant and uh, relevant and of good quality. And finally, references need to be expanded. For example, if you have different angles to cover, you can add them in your research and build upon the quality of the topic, right? So having having said that, maybe you have a problem in the pharmaceutical industry that was being covered in a different way. You could add that reference there in your article, and you could say, okay, here was a problem that was being addressed in one way. And you add the references of another research group. So these are ways that other people can consider your work and maybe cite your research in contrast to a very specific problem in the research domain. The other aspect or other way to increase citations is usability. So the first way to do that is to share your data. Open access publishing, I covered before, but one way to do that was to share your data. I've covered an example of images like Fig Share, but there are other ways you could have other platforms like Zenodo. You could share your data, right, or even on Google Drive. Not really professional, but having research portals or your institutional portal, or just putting out an, data right on Excel, even for other people to download or view. But one thing needs to be clear that the data is ethically shared, that you are giving them the license to do so, and that it does not contain any personal information of people. For example, in marketing or data science, this is a very common problem. So data needs to be anonymized properly, it needs to be cleaned properly, where such references are not present. Visual abstracts, like for example, if you are uh, writing abstracts, then maybe summarize them in a way that has visuals, good visuals, and has, explains the problem very clearly. Right. So graphical abstracts, Bentham Science, facilitates authors with graphical abstracts as well. In fact, some journals may require them, some may not. But it's a facility that we give to all researchers. And basically, with that, each article, graphical abstract can basically make your work more visually appealing, and other people can sometimes take that abstract and cite that sometimes. So it's two ways to cite it. Sometimes people specifically cite certain elements, certain portion of your research, certain text elements, certain sections, but others can just simply say, "Oh, this looks very fine," and this is identical to the model or problem that we are researching. We will just take that and we will cite that. So it makes your research usable in a very good way. In our Bentham Science, we have that facility for researchers. Last but not least, professional branding. This is a more personal aspect of improving citations. And as academic authors, there are some tips for here that I have. One of the ones that is more relevant to young researchers or academic writing is the consistency of your name. So, for example, if I'm taking a personal example, my name is Taimur Ahmed Khan, and if I write Taimur Khan or Taimur Ahmed Khan, two articles I submit, and I submit two different names, so that will affect my citations in a way because sometimes Taimur Khan will come up in a database, and sometimes Taimur A Khan will come, and both of them may have separate citations. Now, you may have to rely on the database linking the two together, or you may have to take each article's DOI and then link them in a separate space and say, oh, these are mine, right? So using the same name across all platforms is a big boost. Similarly, register an ORCID ID. This is very important. ORCID ID is basically an organization that basically gives you a research profile and where you can link your work and also your reviews in the same space. Uh, and this is very important because as a reviewer and Dr. Semalty, once I'm done, he will concur here. And what happens is that an ORCID ID basically also puts your reviews in one place. If you are reviewing a research, you can also show it using an ORCID ID that, hey, I have contributed in a meaningful way, not just by publications, but by also vetting good publications for a journal. So this is very important for your personal branding where you are a researcher. Having an ORCID ID is basically saying that this is my verification, you know and for a new researcher, this is very important thing. One of the first things that you should do when you are writing an article is basically register to the organization and then submit that detail along with your name and email address and other institutional affiliations to the publisher, right? And once everybody has an ORCID ID in a particular contribution, then the desk is more likely to accept your article because it's an automatic verification. Um, of course, the last final one, build a social media presence. This is important simply because this allows you to give a voice to your article. It amplifies your message. I'm sure many of you are present on LinkedIn, but there are other ways, other places. Facebook is slowly it's losing traction these days, but there are still millions of people on that platform. Maybe there's friends and family over there. Twitter is another example. It's a good way to basically get word of your message very quickly in short forms. There are many other platforms available. There's Kudos. I'll cover that later uh, as well. That basically give a voice to your research. They amplify your message, and as you keep doing more research, you can add additional content and build your brand and basically amplify your message. And when people realize that, recognize your name, they are more importantly more willing to work with you. They're also more willing to cite your articles in their work, right? Last and final section that we have, this is more Bentham related, and This covers some of the benefits that we provide to upcoming researchers. So we give you a very quick summary of it. Is that when you come to Bentham Science, we have a very easy manuscript submission system. It's online. It's a manuscriptpoint.com. It's very easy to submit your article online over there. Um, we have real-time article tracking where you can track your manuscript very quickly. If there is an issue with articles, with the article format or anything, or any stage of the process, you will be able to track your article. Um, we have free email alerts for content as well. If you are interested in a particular journal that is publishing regularly, you will get the article alerts. You will have open access publication option that is there. We have global indexation services. We've covered that. Uh, Once you are published in the Bentham Science Journal, uh, you know, there's a good chance that your article will be indexed there. This aspect is usually covered. It will give your article a lot of visibility. Um, Multimedia and video options, whereby once you collaborate with Bentham Science, our marketing team can collaborate with you and give you the options to put your research in a different format, and then you can post it on social media, and we can help you with giving your research much more visibility. Similarly, we can promote some of your work on social media. This is done for free. Then we have full editorial support. Editorial support is given to everybody to help them with any problems that they have. We can do proofreading for them. We can give them language support. Um, Whatever problems that you have with editing your article, these are covered with our staff. We can help you along the way, so and make things easier. Plagiarism detection. This is very important, and as I said, this is a very big pain point for researchers, whereby when you have poor language or basically plagiarized uh, plagiarized work, we will be able to detect that in your article, and we will basically be able to ask you to revise that. So we have this facility where you can submit your article, and basically we will be checking for plagiarism for through their article. And we use Authenticate, which is a software that basically checks for tortured phrases and repeated things that are there online. So that's an area where we basically benefit authors. Um, Authors also the option to make the articles online ahead of print. Each journal has a print issue, and we can get their article ahead of print so that they have visibility, they can share the article, and they can basically cite their work. Other researchers can cite their work very quickly. And finally, the last option that we have is the visibility through social media network called Kudos, which is basically tailored for researchers, where we can basically promote your article for free of cost, and your article will be there visible to others on a social media network that is tailored to researchers. So that's about it. So if you have any questions, let me know. uh, I am available, and basically it's now over to Dr. Semalty and the audience. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Khan. It was a very nice television by you and nice presentation. Thanks a lot. And we learned lot many things. First of all, besides, because I'm also answering the queries in the chat box. Meanwhile, uh, friends, uh, If you have any queries, you are most welcome. That I'm checking on this. But today, actually, my teaching assistant is not available. So that's why I have to take the things at my own. And you can, if anyone has any question, please unmute yourself, switch on your camera, and ask your queries directly. So we'll be happy to answer you. Okay. Mhm. Yes. Anything you want to have? In Bentham, I would like to was first question from my side rather.
Yeah.
Uh, that in Bentham science, the one thing I found little bit problematic, maybe I couldn't trace that, but when we are going reviewing the manuscript, and when I have reviewed the manuscript, there is I couldn't find any provision to link my reviewer work directly to the org ID. Like in other
Mm.
publication portal, it is already there that you just need to click a particular tab and your reviewed work is automatically added to your org ID.
Okay.
Is this still lacking or you have already done it? I'm not in touch for a while.
We are actually working on it.
Yeah,
We
please.
actually have integrated Orchid in some form where users can, I think, register on the platform or they can use that or submit their Orchid information there. But this is in the works right now. And we have discussed it internally and there is a plan to do it. But right now, there is no specific timeline for it.
Yeah, I suggest that you must start it because it's because when the people are most of the people who are reviewing are quite senior or the author, so they don't have much time to add it manually to their org ID, and it will be very convenient for them to so that their review work is automatically added just by clicking on a particular tab. That would be very helpful, I think. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the feedback, and I will speak to the team, and we will escalate this on priority.
I think there is no need to mention that what that already other publishers are doing this for their
Yeah.
review work. They are automatically adding just by clicking it. It is automatically added. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else, my friends? What are the most common mistakes? Yeah, let me go to the my port. Hmm. One of the learner is asking that. Jump to the newest. What are the most common mistakes? Morally, Acharya is mentioning that. What are the most common mistakes early career researchers make in structuring their manuscript, and how can they be avoided to improve the chances of acceptance in high impact journals like Bentham Science Publishers is providing?
Yeah. That's a good question. So, in structuring the article, what happens? Highly cited researchers, what they're usually doing is that most common mistake that we see is that they usually are submitting to a very specific publisher, and what happens is that that publisher may have some specific guidelines. So what happens is that the manuscript comes and it is in line with the requirements of one publisher, and it may not basically uh, be in line with say the requirement of another publisher. Each publisher generally has their own specific way of structuring a paper. Usually what happens is that when someone is already cited, so they're usually working with two or three specific publishers and they submit their paper. It is structured like an Elsevier publisher paper. But sometimes we have our own requirements. We work in a specific way, and we may say, okay, can you just please revise this in a way that meets our requirements. That is one of the most common mistakes that we see.
But
Does that answer your question?
yeah, but yeah, thank you, Mr. Khan. But Bentham Science, I think for many of the journals, they extend the free formatting version that for manuscript submission, the free formatting is allowed in many journals, which I have seen went through that after the
Yeah.
acceptance or after the peer reviewing, the formatting is asked for, that the author is asked for to comply with the author's guidelines. So that is also a very good initiative by the
Yeah,
most many journals by the, I will not say most, but I would say many journals of Bentham Science, I think. You know?
yeah. We recently started this to basically help with people who were facing rejections. They were very senior people who were having this problem. And when we investigated it, this was one of the services that we could offer, that it makes it easier for people to submit their work internally. A lot of highly cited people have this issue, but for new researchers, this is actually just something very, this is an extra. I've been working with people who have submitted research, and now it's not a huge problem. You know, this is not a huge worry now because most publishers, they have automated systems in place. In Bentham, we ask authors to format their work in a specific way, and then we format it offline, right? Other publishers, they have a system in place where you are formatting everything, and everything is made like, for example, Elsevier, they you submit your research in a particular form, and everything comes out automatically. So we are not at that level, but that is not a concern now for many researchers and many who are going for the publishers, different publishers. The structure is usually made by the publisher now.
But still, it's a great initiative, that free formatting, and that like elsewhere also providing the your paper your way, similar to free formatting. It's a very good initiative by the journals, specifically when they at least the early career or mid career researcher are facing the rejection. So at least their time switching from one journal to another journal is after getting the rejection, it becomes quite easier for them. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time
Yes,
to comply with the guidelines and other things. Kudos. It's a
yes,
very good partnership. So,
absolutely.
Dr. Sachin, you have any query? Please.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, actually, I wanted to ask about acceptance ratio of the journals. Usually, journals they don't put this ratio because I am a PG guide with them. So usually, student comes to us. They wanted acceptance ratio plus the duration of first uh, review result, so that they can go ahead with the. So is there any particular way we can find acceptance ratios of the journals?
Are you specifically talking about Bentham journals or other journals? Some journals that,
Yeah.
yeah. Bentham journals. Yeah, right
Yeah.
now we haven't really published acceptance rates right now. And the acceptance rates on average from the data that we have seen for high impact factor journals, it is close to 30%, meaning 70% rejection. For certain
Okay.
journals that have slightly lower impact, it may vary. It may go down to 60% rejection or 40% exception. But
Okay.
generally, Bentham's acceptance rate is close to 65 to 70%. And
Okay.
yeah, we keep close eye on it. For us, the main concern is research quality. Uh, that is why we have a very low acceptance rate at the time being. And it's a double-edged sword. For example, if you
Yeah.
decrease the acceptance rate, you don't get a lot of submissions, and authors are very demoralized that, oh yeah, my research paper is rejected. But at the same time, if you increase the acceptance rate, there is always a question about the research quality, and that question then has several implications for the publisher.
That Mr. Khan, I would rather appreciate and would like to put some light on the acceptance rate of Bentham Science, why it is so, as my personal experience. Bentham Science has a positive bent of mind with respect to the submission. They really want to improve. If they see anything potential, they are very serious in improvising and improving the quality of the content, and their reviewers do proper exercise to improvise and improve the quality of content. I have an experience of publishing my article. It took around 7 months and 8 months of the revision. Two phases of revisions were there, but they entirely improvised, and there was a radical change in the quality of my manuscript. So I'm thankful rather. So it doesn't mean that if acceptance rate is higher, it doesn't mean that anything what is coming out rather than in that way.
Yeah.
But what I have seen with the Bentham is my personal experience, rather than as compared to the other publishers who are just kicking it out at that particular moment only. But yes, they really in search of the quality, and wherever the chance of improvement is there, they give due space and due opportunity to the authors to improve the quality of content. That is my take, personal feeling.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Semalty. Thanks for that feedback.
Thank you.
So let me know if you have any other questions. I'm here to answer.
Yeah.
I'm here to
Uh,
answer.
so any other queries from the learners? One or two few things which is being asked regarding the not to particularly to the content of the webinar or the discussion, but with respect to the course, that our exam registration will be opening in the month end of the March or the in April. So don't worry about that. So need not to worry. And those who have joined on the last date itself, they have the opportunity, because the last date of submission of the assignment
Mm.
is quite farther, and it is we have kept it 30th of April. So even who are joining late have the equal opportunity who have joined at earlier. So that's why we keep it like this. And we will be keeping on inviting uh, the good academic researchers also, so that
Yeah.
not only the publishers, but this we thought that let us take a publisher point of view, that how we the author should improvise that process of submission, and the familiarizing the process and what we should do. So it was a wonderful talking to you, Mr. Khan, and we hope
Yeah.
we'll be in touch and we'll be conducting some more deep insight into the publication domain. And with respect to the one more thing I wanted to ask Mr.
Yeah.
Khan before
Fine.
you conclude, that yes, recently the declaration about the AI content uses has been asked for quite older articles of Bentham Sciences also. So rather,
Yes.
yeah. So we had to, mention that thing, and we were asked about that AI declaration, that yes, the AI content. So I just wanted to have your outlook regarding that declaration. That if people are getting the email regarding the AI declaration, what is that mean, and what should they do, and what should they not do for their upcoming submissions with respect
All
to the
right.
AI uses.
Yeah. So if I understood that correct, so you are getting a notification for submitting an AR declaration form. Is that correct? For older
Yeah, yeah,
articles, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Even the quite older articles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there's no need to panic. Um, it's generally a procedural requirement, and we have made this very standard now across the board. So if they are getting this declaration request, we suggest to submit it. That's my take. I can actually, if after this email, I can follow you. After this webinar, I can give you a more detailed answer via email as well on this policy. Uh, so there's no need to panic. They can submit the forms as well. And for the future articles, it will probably be a requirement at the time of submission. They won't be basically asked at a later stage at all, because the article will not be processed without this now. So for people who are submitting now, they will be required to do it, and it will be a simple form. It is now standard procedures, simply because what is happening is that generative AI is now very proliferative. It is being used very commonly.
Yeah.
In fact, if you have worked with Elsevier and other publishers, they are also very aware of this problem. And now you even have generative AI being involved in peer review as well. By the way, Bentham does not do this. Bentham does not use or use AI for peer review, or we don't have a policy for that. Right? We have a policy for the usage of AI for articles, and that needs to be declared, I believe. So what happens is that most of the time people are using AI for language. I think I've mastered dopamine pressing because there's not a single thing in the world that can make me unhappy when I look like this. Hello?
Hello. Yes, please. I have disabled the
Yeah,
mic.
sorry.
Please.
It's okay.
It was a mistake.
Yeah. So AI use is now becoming very common, and what happens is that many people, understandably, and non-native language speakers, they use AI to refine the language. And from my experience, this is something that many publishers are okay with. What is not okay from the publisher perspective is that you basically start using it without any oversight and just put slop in and just use it to fill content. And this is the concern that we are trying to actively address. And this is a problem that all publishers are facing, not just Bentham and not just Bentham Science, Wiley, Elsevier. So for researchers who have published earlier, we suggest them to fill the form. And they may take some time if they need. We ask them to fill the form and put it, send it to us. And for the future, it will be a requirement. For the current and future ones, it will be a requirement. Yes. One thing that we do request is constant feedback. If you think that this is hindering in the publication, or if there is something missing in the declaration, let us know. And we will review that feedback and we will make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah.
Because this is obviously, we are doing it manually. Firstly, it is not automated. It is manually reviewed. Every author is asked to submit, I think, a document along with it. So there might be a checkbox in the manuscript processing system. I'm not certain about it. I will check. It should be there, ideally. But to my knowledge, the form is a manual document. So it is. It is
They are asking
basically
that in particular
operational.
what particular kind of AI app you have used. Generally, but we have also been disseminating the thing that for language improvisation, it's okay. They even the Bentham says that you just mentioned if you want to, like Grammarly, if you are using for language corrections, maybe that, but specifically generative AI tools must not be used, and that is the message which should also be radiated to all the academic writers, that don't try to generate the data and generate the conceptual framework of the paper. Otherwise, that's
Yes.
not a big deal. Otherwise, even the Microsoft Word is an now AI assisted tool in like Microsoft Copilot. Even the
Yes.
Excel,
Yes.
even the if you go to the Origin, everywhere it is assisted with AI. So we cannot
Yes.
keep the distance from AI. But yes, at least we should not go for the generative AI tools and try to generate the entirely new thing at its own, which is not
Yes.
created by us, which is created by AI only. Yeah?
Yes, exactly. And there are several problems with that, especially if you start going into research that affects
Yeah.
doctors, medical policy, or even social policy. It will become a problem then for not just publishers, then the implications go far beyond that. Uh,
Okay. It is going to be a
um,
detrimental impact, having the detrimental impact on the science itself, on the development of science itself,
yes,
and the society will
exactly.
be impacted.
Yeah. Um, I want to give you a perspective, a big picture. Why is it bad? Simply, and I don't want to go into the politics of it or anything, but what happens is that if something goes wrong, if some bad research is cited, or if something potentially negative happens as a consequence of a poorly researched article or a research which has had AI slop in it, for example, then what happens? Somebody is negatively impacted, and if there is a jurisdiction which allows class action lawsuits, then it becomes very costly. It becomes a big liability for not only the publisher but even the AI companies that are being involved as well. Like, okay, your brand was there or anything. So we need to be very careful because then lawsuits start coming in, things become problematic, and then also, more importantly, trust in science is lost as well. People start losing trust in research. Where do we go from there? So it's there are implications that are far bigger than just publishing for us. So that is why, from our side, like many other publishers are also doing, we have released a document, and for us, it is operational overhead. So right now we are doing it manually. So we ask the researchers to assist us here for the time being.
Thank you. It's a good insight and rather utmost needed on the regarding the clarity of the AI uses when we are talking about the different domains of academic writing. So it's a deep insight rather, and we must be careful. And we have been talking on this aspect on almost every interaction every Sunday, that yes, what to do, what not to do in that scene. So it was a
Yeah,
very nice and deep insight and a brainstorming session with you, Mr. Khan. And our thanks to our all the. I think we have answered the Salens Kumar also. The research article, it shows high use of AI. If it is for AI addiction, then it looks like we generated. Yes, there are AI generated tools which we have to go through, just like the plagiarism checking. So Shailendra, we have to abide by the rules which and the limits which have been assigned by the publisher. Okay, so we
yeah,
have to be very very honest in reporting whatever AI tool we have
yeah.
used, and if AI tools uses are found higher, it may be the basis of retracting or rejection as well as retracting of your
Yeah.
article.
Yeah, plagiarism. I mentioned plagiarism in my presentation, and in
Hmm.
fact, I was in the mindset of researchers who are very professional. But yes, for early career researchers who are in this discussion, plagiarism is a very common reason for rejection, and it usually is a sign of inexperience uh, uh, in the research world. So what happens is that people they want a very quick way out, and it they submit plagiarized research, and it is now very easy to detect. And in fact, there is an opposite problem of false positives, where you may want to quote some certain passage or something, or maybe there is a very specific string of information that cannot be changed, and that basically gets detected. And sometimes you have a very high similarity report as well. That also comes up sometimes. Uh, yeah, so false positives are very rare, but it can happen. So plagiarism needs to be avoided at all costs. So it's just that, and what happens is that AI tools they scrape things from the web, and I know it's a very different discussion about what AI is
Yeah.
and what it isn't. But what happens is that when you use AI, just copy paste it inadvertently. What you're doing is you're taking some existing text string, and you're just putting it in the article, and it might actually show up in your similarity reports. So basically relying completely on AI, it will generally, any competent publisher will detect it, and your material
Okay.
will be rejected.
And even the fake references are being created many times with the AI. So fake references, hypothetical reference AI used to create, and people knowingly or unknowingly, if you are adding, you are inviting trouble for you as an author. It may cause the retraction even after publication, years of publication. The retraction may be the detrimental
Yes.
impact. Mhm.
Yes, the retractions. Yes, another very common thing. It can affect a person if somebody has been associated with retractions. Some reviewers, some publishers, even be they may not tolerate submissions from these persons. Bentham Science has a policy where a person's retraction history should not be influence the decision about the quality of the research. If someone submits a quality article, uh, we try to separate the retraction history from that. This is an important point for us, and it's very
Mhm.
discussion about it. We are very particular about the quality of articles. Therefore, if somebody has a retraction history, we need to first consider the quality of the article, and then we look at the retraction history. Right? Sometimes what happens is that somebody has a retraction history, coincidentally, the quality of the article may or may not be that good. So then it's very easy to reject these articles from an editor's point of view. But we are trying to be very cognizant of the fact that sometimes retractions occur, and there should be a clear demarcation between the, the assessment of the quality of the work and the history of whoever is submitting there. However, not every publisher is very tolerant of retractions, and retractions can become a problem uh, for uh, for researchers. So these need to be these can be avoided if all of your work is being done with due diligence. If you are very careful from the get-go, uh, then it's more beneficial. So there's a saying, "The slow and steady wins the race." So when you are submitting an article, try to be methodological. Try to be uh, slow or careful in doing your due diligence. That's okay. But if you try to be very quick, just to save too much time, then sometimes it can have a negative impact. Um,
Thank you. So thank you, Mr.
yeah,
Khan. And I want to let you know
yeah,
that we have taken the several times we have taken the advantage of your trial, packs of your journal subscription in our library. And being a central university, we have subscribed almost all of the Bentham Science journals we are having as a subscription model, and we have assessed. Came late. We came to know late that yes, we are having subscription when we are sitting at our campuses. Then that institutional subscription is
mm,
activated automatically. So we have subscribed your
okay,
journals also. That is wonderful to have your access to your
all right.
all the journals almost. Okay.
All right.
So
If you have any problem, let our team know. Our office is also head office is there in Dubai. They will be able to deal with you. We have a representative in India as well, Mr. Kamal Babu. So let us know, and we can address any issues that you have. And if you are enjoying our content, or if you're having benefiting from that, then all the best, and hopefully
thank
we
you.
will publish more articles, and
That's it.
you guys will have benefit from the research.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Khan. Thanks to you.
Yeah,
Thanks to your team.
welcome.
Thanks to all the team members, especially Miss Ikra and all the your team members from Bentham Science for giving us the
Most
opportunity to have
welcome.
you with us. It's had been a very wonderful discussion, really. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Khan, and thank you for sparing the time, especially in the month of Ramadan. And best wishes for the holy month to you, your family, and the Bentham family. And with all the best wishes of our holy to our fellow learners also, best wishes of Ramadan. And with this, we are signing off for this live session. So thank you, Mr. Khan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, everyone. Okay.
so now I'm stopping the recording, and this recording will be available to all our learners. I'll also be sharing Mr. Khan and the Bentham team that recording, and we will be making it available to all our learners, so that many of the learners who couldn't join us at that particular time will be having the you will be seeing that in a few days the hundreds and hundreds of views will be there. So thank you,
All
thanks a
right.
lot. Thank you once again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having me, and best wishes to everyone.